Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Dr. Kelly OMZ, your board certified OB-GYN and healthcare consultant, here to help you live your healthiest and wealthiest life. And you are in the Vivalife SPF Me Zoom room. And we are so happy to bring back our resident executive coach, Miss Karen Arnold, who is going to be talking to us about visioning towards success. So that being said, Karen, tell us the top 3 things you want us to know, and then we'll get started.
Sure. Thank you very much for the invite back. I'm super excited to be here. With visioning, I think what you want to know and take away is that visioning is a way to really craft the future that you want. Try to let go of the current constraints you feel that you're operating under, and then set out a path for you to get there. And by taking that first step to putting you on the path to what your vision is creating.
You know, we have talked about this. Karen helped me visualize what my future was going to look like in transition and in this first year out. And I tell you, things are happening. And the reason why is because she understands that I'm a big picture person, and those details sometimes, I don't get all the details. And we talked about that in the podcast today. If you listen to it, about the I am progressing, but having those small details between. The most wonderful thing is you got to have the bigger vision, though, because if you don't have the vision, where are you going to go? We're not sure. So Karen, go ahead and set us off, and then we will get our Vivalifers interactive with us tonight. Go ahead.
That would be wonderful. So again, thanks a lot. So when I was here the last time, we talked about kind of managing through transitions. And one of the steps that I had brought up was really about shifting your perception and trying to see what's possible for the future. And in shifting that perception, it comes to one of the tools to use is about visioning. How do you vision the future? And these points of transition can happen in many different ways, many different mechanisms. There's one where you can say, oh, I know I'm going to be going through a job change in 2 years, because if you're in the military, you're going to be reassigned something new. So that could be a natural point of transitioning. Another one, you're like, hey, I'm not really sure what my future is going to be like, and I want to look 10 or 15 years down the road. That could be another point that you're transitioning through and visioning towards the future. It could be, hey, how can I shift from here to there? And you want to think about what that means. I use visioning a lot from a coaching perspective to sit with a client and say, hey, we pick the right time horizon that works for them. There is no correct horizon. It's what is unique to each person and their own circumstances. So with Dr. Kelly, we were talking about, 12 to 18 months to 2 years out as she was going through a big transition this past year. And we're picking that as a horizon. And so you find the horizon that works for you for the circumstance that you want to look at. And this time we're looking nearer term. And then it's about letting go of the current constraints and that you're operating under. A lot of times we're like, oh, well, I would like to do this. And then we put the big but in front of it. But I can't do this, or but this is going to get in the way, or but this is going to be hard to do, but I don't have the resources. But when you're visioning, you have to sit back, take your big three breaths, breathe out all that negativity and all the constraints, and actually let your mind wander and picture that future that you're looking for. So let go of the constraints. Imagine your future the way that you want it and where you want to be at that particular moment in that time. And that allows you to go to access what feels right, what's right for you, what's aligned with your values, what do you really want to be called to do, where are you going to be satisfied, what drives you. And if you get rid of all those constraints and things that says you can't do this, that you're telling yourself a lot of times you can't do, then you can just lean into what's possible. And then what I go with the clients is like, okay, so if we take a 2-year horizon, let's divide that year in half. So they tell me what their vision is and what that looks like. So if that's in 2 years, so in 1 year, where do you want to be on that progress to that vision? And then we vision the 1 year point and what that would look like. And then we talk about that for a little bit, what that might mean. And then we're like, okay, so in 6 months now, what do you want to have done? And what does that vision look like? What do you want to have accomplished to put you on that path? And then we kind of keep going back and dividing the timeline. So we went from 2 years to 1 year to 6 months. Okay, so in 3 months, what do you want to be doing? In a month and a half, what do you want to be doing? In 3 weeks, what do you want to be doing? Okay, so what does that mean? What's one thing you want to do next week? So instead of trying to look at this vision and think forward and like, oh man, here's the 15 steps that I have to know what they all are and then work on step 1, we kind of work backwards to it. So it doesn't seem quite as overwhelming And then you get your one thing done that you want to be next week is like, hey, it might be sending 3 messages out to people to find out about a particular area or question or a job opportunity. Like, hey, I never thought about this. And so let me just message that. And the thing you have to do next week is not actually apply for the job. It's finding out some information. So it's just emailing 3 people. And so by kind of stepping back into it, instead of looking forward into it, you're like, oh, now it's manageable. Now it's not insurmountable. And then you've done something to put yourself on that path to that vision. So now you have that reward that you can give yourself too. And so that's kind of one of the methodologies that I use in visioning. And it can work through, like I said, many different ways and in many different circumstances. The final piece that I think is nice to put around it too, if you have the ability, is to find someone to help you hold accountable to it. So what does the accountability look like? You know, do you need a partner that you can say, hey, can you make sure and check in I do these couple of things? Do you want to get a coach that can help you hold accountable? Is it your best friend? Is it a little journal that you're going to write your accomplishments in? And what I always want to also say is, as you complete those things that on those paths to your vision, give yourself the credit and congratulate yourself for making those steps. And don't get caught up in all the things that are left to do without actually giving yourself the credit for moving forward at all. Because sometimes taking that first step is the hardest thing to do. So that's kind of how I would sort of wrap up visioning in awe.
Awesome. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions before we start diving deeper?
Yes, I've heard of visioning, especially, I've been on a weight loss journey for a long time, and everybody always tells you to vision where you want to be, what size you want to be, and to take the small steps and break it down and come up with an action plan. And, I never really thought about it from a careers perspective and work on doing the same thing that way. And it probably would have helped me to set some boundaries and, probably get more things accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we talk about that alignment right there, Sheila, that goes with it. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely. I mean, visioning can be very powerful. I mean, people in sports use it all the time to kind of visualize the outcomes they want. And when we do it with work, it's, hey, what's the next job that you want to go for? What do you want to prepare yourself to do? How do you want to make this job the best job that you want to? Whatever the circumstances is, and it's, if you can craft that kind of future in your mind, now you can start putting yourself on the path to get there and not waiting for it to happen to you, but you can take active control over that.
Absolutely. I see a hand raised, LG.
Hi, I apologize for being off camera. I am under the weather. Um,
Oh,
but when you spoke about the accountability portion and actually writing it down, that really resonated with me. That is something that I actually implement with my Panda planner. There is actually like a daily accountability, a weekly, and a monthly. And that has really helped me because I feel like every day is more intentional where it was not before. So thank you for sharing.
Yes, I thank you very much for bringing that up. I mean, I think a lot of the things when it comes to accountability is there's 2 things about it. Is one is you've written it down and you've kind of tracked it, but the other thing that we're so bad at doing is giving ourselves credit for the things that we actually have accomplished. Because there's always that ongoing to-do list of stuff to do, whether it's in personal life or professional life, or it's kids, or it's family, or it's this, or it's this. All these things are pounding in at you, and you still have yet to do. There's laundry to be folded, or floor to vacuum, or groceries to shop for, or trash to take out, or an employee to coach. But when you go back and think about the accountability, if you have a journal like that, you can go back and it's almost like your own little way to, I don't want to necessarily say brag, but it's like, hey, give yourself the credit for the things that you have done, because we're so bad at doing that for ourselves. We're usually our own worst critics. We give credit to everybody else, but giving yourself that affirmation that yes, you have done well, you have accomplished this, you did do this. If I didn't do this particular act, but yeah, I did these 3 other things, but I did them. It gives you that replenishes your energy to move forward and keep
You're
going.
absolutely right, because we actually have a portion in the planner for wins, for tracking wins. And I just
Mm-hmm.
love that keeps you motivated.
It is.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we asked in our inner circle, as well as, on the podcast, was what are the top 3 values that you have? So Karen, can you tell us why having values is important for this?
Sure. So when when you know what really drives you and what your values are, it's kind of like we can, Simon Sinek's "What's your why?" Or there's all sorts of ways that you can frame that up. But when you're thinking about what your values are, when you're looking at that through the standpoint of what your vision is for that future, a lot of times if you've let go of those constraints, those values start being the things that come up and be front and center in your vision for your future, because those are the things that call you the most. And that's, again, if you're letting go of what societal expectations are, or you let go of what your work says you should be doing for the next job series. If you let all of that go, your values are the things that are going to drive you. Those are what resonate with you. And then if you start looking through all of your activity and tasks and your vision through the lens of those values, now you're resonating with yourself. Now you're living true to yourself. You're not living against yourself. Now you're making decisions to put those into play as opposed to working against them, which means that you're able to be more resilient. You have more energy. You're more positive about it. You're waking up enthusiastic about it. You want to draw people into that positivity and that fullness of life that you're experiencing. I mean, your whole group is Vivalife. Like you want to live the life that you want to dictate. So when you're letting go of those constraints and your values start popping up and you're living to the values and those are in your vision, now you're on the path to who you want. I mean, you could probably see with Dr. Kelly living her values in her life and propagating with her podcasts and her webinars and everything. It's who she is. And so talking about her vision of her future and making sure that they are aligned with the values, it's becomes easy and it's not work anymore.
Yeah, that's true. The people say if you love what you do, then it's not work. It's, what you love. And people also talk about, having your passions. If you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do, then it's not work and you enjoy what you do. It doesn't take you, having to run 7 miles just to go into work that day so that you can be on your best self. And I know that's extreme, but I'm telling you, some of these jobs, you got get ready. It's more than just, put on and putting the lipstick on. It is a lot of mental preparation to walk some of these jobs. So let's see. Someone said, I have heard of vision boards. So how do you utilize vision boarding to help people move forth in success?
So I think the thing with the vision board is, as with anything, the vision board is the thing that and I haven't used them personally. And if Ife wants to speak a little bit more about the vision board and they've used them before, I'd love to hear about it. But when I hear a vision board, I hear, hey, this is where you've gone and you've cut out some pictures, you've cut out some map, you've almost like put things physically in front of you so you can see them happening and where you're working towards and what happens on that path, whether it's the end result or it's the journey that you want to create. And what I would say is that can be very powerful, especially for those folks that need that visual reminder of how they want to be, how they want to hold themselves, what they're working towards. And they don't have it fixed up here, but they need that visual reminder to recenter themselves frequently. Then go for it. I know I've told a lot of coaching clients, like when we've talked about operating from your center of your power, hey, what's a symbol of that power that you can put on your notebook and remember that it's there, that calls to you? I had somebody that I worked with that hers was like a Care Bear sticker. So she found a Care Bear sticker that she literally put on her notebook that she brought into meetings that was there. And nobody knew what it was except for her. And it was to remember that she was operating from that position of strength. It's the same kind of thing from a vision board. If you need a vision board to keep your vision of yourself for your future in front of you, go for it. It helps you understand and stay tuned to what's important. So when the chaos of the world around you is happening, you can go back and you can go like, yep, that's where I'm headed towards, and recenter yourself with that particular vision and make sure your decisions are now faced towards that direction.
And as the Vivalifers know, I absolutely love vision boarding. So save the dates. The first weekend in January is our vision hybrid in-person vision boarding, because I've really used them almost my entire life. And to be able to go back into my purple book, which was my, pieces of paper, cut out everything Oprah had in her magazine and all those different type of things to help myself visualize. The reason why is because a lot of times you don't even know what things could potentially look like until you see it on a piece of paper, or you go visit somewhere and you're like, oh my God, this is possible for me.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is visions come to life when you talk about, what do I want to feel like when I'm in this experience? And Karen, can you talk to us about that? Because that's one of the things you went with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even as you're talking about your vision boards, I would almost guarantee if you go back and look at your vision boards over history, you're going to see the values that matter most to you coming out in each one of those visions. Because I know family is really important to you. So I bet if you go back in your visions, there's going to be family resonating through and coming out in some way, shape, or form. Even in your professional vision boards, there's probably something resonating about how you're bringing your family along with you and taking care of them. Because I know that's like a value of what you have. So as you're talking about your vision for the future or vision for your values, it's a lot of times, again, we get stuck in the pressures and the narrative that's in our brains. And it's hard to quiet that down, but it's taking those deep breaths, letting that go, because you have to see it. Where are you feeling this particular vision? Where are you feeling these values? Where are you feeling these actions, these decisions? Are they in your head? Are they in your heart? Are they in your stomach? Are they in your fingertips? What's going on with your energy? When you sit with yourself as you're going through a decision or your future, you're crafting that up. When that energy starts running through your body, from your fingertips, through your heart, through your stomach, and you just start feeling alive, guess what? You're resonating now in your own truth, in your own future. It's the thing that's going to really fulfill you. I think the last time that we talked, we did a little bit of an exercise where we did some values mining. And it was about, when did you feel that energy was alive and what was happening then? It's the same type of a thing. So sitting in your vision, as your mind drifts, those things that you feel in the pit of your gut and your heart, you're like, this just feels right. Guess what? That's probably the vision that's really going to resonate with you. That's the thing that you're going to say, I really actually am looking forward to doing this. I'm willing to do the work to make this happen too. And then again, what is that vision? What's happening? What are you doing? And then step it back. What are you doing? So to get that 6 month, half the time from now, what am I trying to do? And what am I trying to do? What do I want? Where do I want to be on this journey? And then start that first step. And then you can redo the exercise. Am I happy where I'm at? Okay, do I want to move faster? Do I want to move slower? How do I want to then, what's the next step I want to take? And so you can kind of craft that way, as opposed to sometimes project planning isn't people's strengths. So sitting down and writing the list out isn't going to work. So instead, just backwards plan. Okay, so that means by next month, I want to try to have all of these things done. Make your list. Hold yourself accountable. Give yourself the credit when you get it done. Then review again. Okay, so now where am I on this journey? I'm here. So I still have this journey, 1 year and 11 months from now. What do I want to be doing? But it's about listening to your full body wisdom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you gave us some great nuggets. Go ahead and tell us how to get in touch with you.
So you can reach me on email at karnold@ktechsolutions.com, at my website at www.ktechsolutions.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you want to talk about any of these topics, you can go to my website and you can just go on there and you can book a 30-minute kind of complimentary session just with me, just to even find out what's going on and if anything like this is worthwhile for you. I'm happy to talk about any of these topics with anyone.
Love it. Love it. And as y'all know, I'm Dr. Kelly OMD at drkellyomd.com, as well as Instagram at Dr. Kelly OMD.